will speak, and then we'll be honored to hear from Tom Holmoe. And afterward, we have some of our constitutional officers here. We've got our new state auditor, Tina Cannon. We've got our Attorney General, Derek Brown, his wife, Emily, who met at BYU. They were in Young Ambassadors together, and so it is only fitting that after Tom Holmoe's remarks, they will lead us all in the BYU fight song. And we'll take it to there. Thank you.
You guys hear me okay? Okay. First, I just want to start off by thanking everybody for making this happen, from the governor, lieutenant governor, from Mike Maurer, whose wife happens to be my scholarship sponsor at BYU, to all the people who made this happen. I'm happy to be up here speaking on behalf of the guys and on behalf of just the student athletes at BYU to just share how grateful we are for this opportunity, how excited we are to build on this, because we're not done. That's the mindset, and going to the offseason, we're already starting spring ball tomorrow, so we're excited for that. And just that, show appreciation for a guy like the man, Tom Holmoe here, who has just led us for the last 20 years to do unremarkable things. We've heard the accomplishments already twice now, and it's impressive how long the list goes on. And it's super cool for a guy like me who came in here as a transfer from a junior college to be able to connect with an AD the way I have. I actually did not like my AD in junior college, but this guy right here is special. He's made my journey here even better. He's just allowed me to grow in so many ways and shown me the way. And he's just, how humble he is the beginning of it for, Tom here, and the way that, he was just another guy I could talk to or lean on whenever I needed advice on something, especially in the athletic and academic world. And so thank you from all the BYU athletes over the last 20 years. I know I can speak for a lot of them by saying, you're incredible, and thank you for leading us for the last 20 years, and go Cougs.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you, Jake. It's an honor for me to be up here, and just want to, on behalf of our program, and I know Jake spoke for the players, but just want to represent the university and our fan base, Cougar Nation, and in our program, our coaches and staff, and just want to recognize our coach, our associate head coach that's here with me, Jay Hill, as well as our chief of staff, John Swift, and our general manager, Dave George. And so we have an amazing environment to work under, and it's a lot of thanks to what we get to enjoy here in the state of Utah. Thank you to our Lieutenant Governor Henderson and our Governor Cox for running an amazing destination for us to play football. And I speak on behalf of everyone that plays football in college. This is an amazing place. The economy is awesome, so I love that you guys are making that an easy recruiting pitch for us. But the recruiting pitch goes for everybody that gets to enjoy life here in the state. And just I want to express our gratitude to you. And it helps that you text me when we win games, Governor Cox. That's great. So let's keep that up, keep that going. And so, just really excited to be here and to see everything that's happening here. Just want to express our gratitude and to all those that have been so welcoming to us. And I know that there's a lot of different allegiance here when in terms of who they cheer for and things like that. But we feel the respect and love and appreciate everyone here from all different colors and who they represent. And so it's an honor for us to be here and see how it works. And it doesn't hurt to be it's a little bit flattering to hear some cool things that happened during the season, but we've kind of already moved on, right, guys? And so it's okay to think about the past, but the idea of us staying humble and staying hungry, and I'm more proud of the way these young men represent themselves as people more than the wins that we were able to get. I love the way that they compete. We still had a little bit of mistakes, but the way that these young men have been able to approach it, it's an honor for me to coach them. I love them, and so they're the best in college football, and appreciate their love for each other and the love that they have for the platform that they're in. I've said it last year that this team has done more service work for the community than any team that I've ever been a part of, and that's saying a lot. Especially that's what we try to do here at BYU, and a lot of that is done because we had great leaders before I even came here, and guys like Lavelle Edwards that set the standard for us. And the other side of it is that I get to honor our athletic director, Tom Holmoe, and who's a great friend and mentor. And I'm going to talk about him because he doesn't talk about himself, and he doesn't want this attention. So if you notice, I think he's uncomfortable because everyone's talking about him in this way, but that's because he doesn't really care about the spotlight. But I've been able to have a wonderful friendship with him, and this love that I have from him as a leader has been amazing to follow your leadership, Tom. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, and for the way that you've been able to adjust with the presidents that you've been with. You know, that we've been there when President Worthen and Vice President Matt Richardson were here, and yourself and Brian Santiago gave me a chance. You know, and then to have it run so smoothly with President Reese and Vice President Warkink. They're great men too, but it's a lot because of your leadership and the things that you stick to and the things that you stand for, and the righteousness that you represent. So I failed though in convincing him to do one more year. I kept saying that to him more and more. I said, let's just retire together, you know. But if you guys haven't guessed, he played way before me, but he also played with winning 3 Super Bowls and played for my San Francisco 49ers and for my BYU Cougars. So it was awesome that we had a really cool culture, and I think a lot of people, they highlighted the culture of our team in praising us today. But the culture, it comes from the gospel of Jesus Christ, but more importantly, how Lavelle Edwards was able to introduce that to us as players. And so I speak for all the fraternity in BYU football that we speak the same language even though we played on different teams because of the culture that we got to enjoy. And the fact that Lavelle was able to be there for 3 decades, our fraternity is huge, and the people that see eye to eye and on the same page with us, they're aligned directly with what we represent. And so I don't want to take too much time talking about that, but I just want to say that Tom's an amazing person. You know, I'm jealous because he gets to retire, and we have a relationship that he's gonna be somewhere nice, and he's gonna send me pictures and things like that. But I hope he knows that we're gonna still need his leadership and I'm gonna still need your mentoring. And I love you dearly. Thank you so much. Go Cougs.
Today's been a remarkable day. We're just so honored to be here in this amazing Capitol building and grateful for the honor. I especially want to thank today Governor Spencer Cox, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, Attorney General Derek Brown, Treasurer Marlo Oakes, Auditor Tina Cannon, and all the community leaders who have helped us be here today to honor Tom Holmoe. Honor our football team, but today is a special day because we're honoring Tom Holmoe. Also want to thank Mike Deaver and Mike Maurer from the governor's office and so many others, including the Utah House and Senate leadership, for making Tom Holmoe Day possible. Today is about Tom and Lori, because without Lori, Tom doesn't exist. Their decades of distinguished leadership and service to BYU and to the broader community. At BYU, we often talk about Christ-like leadership, and Tom has lived it. He never went halfway or gave half effort. If you need evidence, just look at his legendary Halloween costumes. He gave his all as a student athlete, as a coach, and as BYU's athletic director for more than 20 years. At BYU entering the Big 12 is an incredible milestone, not just at BYU, but I dare say for the entire state of Utah. President Spencer W. Kimball, in a remarkable address on our campus, said that until we've climbed the hill just before us, we are not apt to be given a glimpse of what lies beyond. Tom helped us as a university and as an athletic program climb new hills and mountains at BYU. Today, we now see further into the future and stand taller with our vision lifted because of Tom's leadership and the legacy he leaves for all of us. On behalf of BYU and Cougar Nation, I want to express my gratitude to you and your family, Tom, and to congratulate you on this special and much-deserved day. Thank you again, both you and Lori, Tom, And go Cougs.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here with you today, Tom Holmoe Day here in the state of Utah. It's fun to be able to connect with several of my friends. I so appreciate BYU and what they mean to this state. President, thank you for your leadership and your remarks. Lieutenant Governor, it's great to be able to work with a Cougar, and I'm grateful to Coach and Jake for their leadership as well, and of course to Tom. Thanks for letting an Aggie stand up here and say some great things about a Cougar. I started my life as a giant BYU fan. My uncle went to BYU. And he was the only one in our family that had gone to college to a university, and that's all I knew. He took me to my first BYU game when I was 5 years old, and I will never forget it. I was I don't want to make you feel too old, Tom, but I was 8 years old when that 1984 team started their run, and that's prime time when you're a kid. That's when I was sold. I was the guy who would show up at BYU games with shirt off, painted blue with a white Y on my chest. So that was me, causing a lot of trouble and making a lot of noise. And I had somebody ask me the other day, they're like, well, who do people in Utah cheer for in the NFL? What's the team? I said, well, we have a lot of San Francisco 49er fans. And they'll say, oh, of course, Steve Young, that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, it does. But before Steve, there was Tom Holmoe. And your legacy, again, preceded your work as athletic director. But we're all very excited when you got the nod to come and serve as athletic director for this team. And I know we have some players here, and I want to thank all of you for the way you represent that institution. But here's the thing, you didn't sign up to represent the state of Utah. Many of you came from outside of Utah, right? This is not your home. This is not where you grew up. You're here temporarily. You're here to play football. But whether you like it or not, you do represent the state of Utah. Every time you put on that Y on your chest and you go and play that game on TV or in another state, people are judging our state by your behavior. And that is true of all of our universities. But I can tell you, I was just in Washington, D.C. this past week, and I had lots of people come up to me and want to talk about the basketball team and the win over Kansas. A lot of people don't like Kansas, and they were really excited about that win. But again, that reputation and who you are, it's not something you ask for. You weren't assigned to be representatives of the state of Utah, but you're every bit the representative that I am as the governor of Utah. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to thank you for the way that you do portray this state, the way that you do represent this state. We're very proud of you, and we're grateful for your work. Now, Tom, I was thinking about this last night, and I came to the conclusion that the 20 years in which Tom Holmoe has overseen the athletic department here were the most difficult and tumultuous years in college athletics history. And I feel pretty certain saying that. As a student of history and a sports junkie, I feel confident that no other athletic director or athletic directors in the history of our country have had to go through what he's been through in the last 10 years. Think back a little bit. COVID, obviously, trying to put games together. That's where we really first connected, and we talked a lot about how can we make this safe for people, how can we keep it open and keep the economy moving, keep sports going in the state of Utah. We were able to do that. NIL and the transfer portal, right? These are problems that his predecessors never had to deal with. In fact, college sports has become really professional sports these days in lots of different ways. And so it's very different than the job he signed up for 20 years ago. Navigating independence in this landscape is impossible. I still don't know how you did it. Still don't know how you pulled schedules together and were able to get the seasons together that you came together. How you were able to not just compete, but connect and bring people in, recruit under independence, and then navigating the changing landscape of conference realignment. and ultimately landing in the Big 12. And just see landing makes it sound like it just happened. It didn't just happen. There's an incredible amount of work there, a lot of discussions. I was involved with the University of Utah during that time, and every step along the way, there were new landmines that you had to navigate. No one has ever had to navigate all of that and then to come out on the other side doing it better than just about anyone in the country. Maybe anyone in the country. To see the success that has happened, not just with football, but certainly with football, with basketball, men's sports, women's sports, track and field. The best runners in the country are at BYU right now. World-class organizations across the board under your purview and your tutelage. So that would be legacy enough. And enough of a resume to fill multiple pages and to retire and ride off into the sunset with a career well spent and a life well lived. But there's so much more to it than that. Not only has Tom Holmoe done all the right things, more importantly than all of that, though, he did all of them in the right way. And that's harder to do today than maybe anything else. There are a lot of successful people out there that are willing to cut corners, that are willing to undercut other people, that are willing to use their position of authority to tear other people down. And Tom Holmoe never did that. He was the exact opposite of that. In fact, he used his position to deflect to others, used his position to lift everyone else around him and not take any of the credit. Well, that's why today is a little bit uncomfortable for him. President Reagan had a saying on his desk. Many people have said this before, but there's no end to what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. And he did care who got the credit. He just wanted to make sure it wasn't him. And that's what makes him so special. I can tell you that the next person I meet who doesn't like Tom Holmoe will be the first person. And that's probably the greatest compliment that I can give him. I've yet to meet anybody who doesn't love Tom Holmoe. Now, Tom, before we invite you up here, I just want to read this declaration that we have framed for you today in very government speak. Whereas Thomas Allen Holmoe was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, whereas he attended Brigham Young University and played as a defensive back from 1978 to 1982, after which he went on to play for the San Francisco 49ers from 1983 to 1989, during which time the team won the 3 Super Bowl championships. Whereas he returned to BYU in 2002 to serve as Associate Athletic Director for Development, after which he was appointed Director of Athletics in 2005. Whereas during his 23 years as the Director of Athletics, he worked with more than 4,000 student athletes, managing 21 intercollegiate sports and an annual staff of 220 sports administration professionals. Whereas Holmoe has overseen 4 national championships, 133 conference championships, and more than 350 All-America selections at BYU. Whereas he's influenced countless young athletes and aspiring sports professionals and revolutionized the Department of Athletics at BYU. And whereas Tom Holmoe has been a mentor, both spiritually and professionally, to so many Utahns. Now, therefore, I, Spencer J. Cox, Governor of the State of Utah, do hereby declare February 26th, 2025 as Tom Holmoe Day in the state of Utah. Congratulations, Tom.
Thank you very much, Governor Cox and Lieutenant Governor Henderson, and to those who have spoken. I really super appreciate the kind words that you've said today about our team and about me. And I just think it's time for me also to thank the great state of Utah for this day, to be able to be honored as a team and as an athletic director, to be able to bring us up here and be able to put these incredible gentlemen and their coaches in a fine light. We appreciate that. I want to just think back to 1978 was the first year that I came to the state of Utah. And I grew up in Southern California, was not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when they started recruiting me a couple years before that, I really didn't know much about the state of Utah or the church for that matter. And I had a few friends that knew a little bit about BYU that were members and kind of nudged me. So when I flew into Salt Lake City in January of 1978, That was my first time in the state, except one time when I was about 7 and my parents, we were driving through to another state. And I look back on that now, many years ago, and I raised my family. I was raised in LA, and then when I left BYU, we raised our family in San Francisco, and I was a California boy. And then I came back to BYU for 23 years ago, and now it's time for me to retire. And when I came here in 1978, I flew in, we drove from Salt Lake Airport down to Provo, and I thought, what in the world has happened? What am I doing on this recruiting trip? And now, all these years later, I'm a citizen of the state of Utah. This is my home. And I love this state. And it's especially true because of the great people. I look at these young men in the front row and here, the BYU players, and I think back that I was in your seat in the late 70s and early 80s. And the reason that things changed in my life was because of people. And so when people ask me about what my highlights are, being here at the athletic director for 20 years, without a shadow of a doubt, it's the people. And those people are a big part of this state and a big part of BYU. And so no matter what age you are, what year or class you are at school, remember that the more that you can do as an individual to bless the lives of other people, the better you will be and the better those people around you will be. And our good friend Chad Lewis, who was a Cougar and works at BYU now, wrote a book called Surround Yourself with Greatness. And I think that this is what this state's about. I was at the inauguration, and these were what Governor Cox's comments and his foresight or his vision for the future was of the state of Utah, was the great people in the state. And so for each of you that are thinking, what's my future look like? I didn't know what my future looked like when I graduated from BYU in '78, but I trusted the people that I was with. I'm super grateful to BYU for giving me that opportunity to receive an education. And the education is not just in the books. The education at BYU for me and for you, it occurred in the classroom, it occurred on the field, it occurred in our wards, it occurred just with the people that were around here. And you have to understand that, and you have to contribute to that. The governor has asked that every person that lives in this state is going to contribute to the greatness that's occurring right now in the state. And the same thing is true. It's what President Reese asks of us at BYU, is to shine a little bit brighter, be a little better every single day. So as I stand here today, and hard to believe, looking back from years ago to 1978 to 2025, great things can happen when you make a difference in the lives of other people. The greatest feeling that I have in these years is just looking back to student athletes and the coaches and the administrators that I got a chance to rub shoulders with. And because y'all did so great for 20 years, in the roles that you had, my role kind of got accentuated. And then I just kind of carried that role. But you now, like I've said many times this last couple of weeks, is the baton is being passed to y'all. And you know you can do this. But it takes incredible timing and intentionality and love. And when we look back, one of the things I want to end with is that I had a great coach in Lavelle Edwards who taught me most of this stuff that I'm teaching you today. And as we look at that, it come forward to this time, y'all have a coach in Coach Kalani Sitake that teaches the same thing, love and learn. And when you hear him say that, I know that sometimes in your classroom, when you hear that in the team room, you don't quite really understand what that means. But this last year, you lived it. You lived on the field and off the field, and you can see what amazing things happen when you believe in each other, you trust each other, and you love each other. Thank you again to the great state of Utah for this incredible honor and for honoring the boys. Thank you.
Thank you. I may be the Attorney General, but I'm first and foremost a Coug. and my wife is a Coug, and we have 2 boys in Provo right now who are Cougs. And believe it or not, I didn't make it on any sports team at BYU. I know this is going to come as a shock, but our background as a family is music, and one of my boys just spent 3 years as a member of Vocal Point, if you know Vocal Point. So, on that note, let's sing the Cougar fight song and remind you. Most people don't know the first line, because that's usually when the most cheering is going on, right? I mean, almost no one knows it because that's when the cheering, and then you kind of join in later. So the first line is, rise, a loyal Cougars, and hurl your challenge to the foe. I love it. Okay, ready? And you know when to stand up, right? Not yet. Here we go. Rise, a loyal Cougars, and hurl your challenge to the foe. We will fight day or night, rain or snow. Loyal, strong, and true, wear the white and blue. As we sing, get set to spring for the Cougars, it's up to you. Oh, rise and shout, the Cougars are out, along the trail to fame and glory. On we go, the Cougars ring out, as we unfold our victory story. On we go to vanquish the foe for alma mater, sons and daughters. As we sing this song, in praise of you, our strength is strong. We'll raise our colors high in the blue, and we are Cougars of BYU. Rock, 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 rock. Go Cougars! Hey, and there are mint brownies and Cougar tails out there, so.
Hey, we want to get a picture with the team and the constitutional officers. So if you could go out, and then the governor and Mike Deaver about Cougar Tails for everybody. But if you can steps, the team and the coaches and the constitutional officers for a photo with the governor. Yep.
I saw that there's eggy ice cream upstairs. How come I didn't get any of that?
Well, that came yesterday. So.
I was about to say, like, hey,
Yeah, let's grab a